Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is another live Everton update, manager update, rumour update, whatever you want to call it. And there has been another twist in the Rafa Benitez saga over the last 24 hours or so. So we're going to sit down and talk about that this afternoon. We've also got a couple of rumours regarding players. One, linking Everton striker Dominic Calvert-Lewin with a move to Arsenal, which is quite funny, isn't it? Let's be honest, I read the rumour earlier on today and I just couldn't stop laughing for about 20 minutes. But we'll have a little talk about that later on in the live stream as well. But the main topics of today are, of course, surrounding Everton's managerial search, as they have been every day for the past 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks today since Carlo Ancelotti left the football club, and Everton are still in the search for a new manager, or in the market for a new manager. We've had loads of names thrown into the hat over the last 3 weeks or so, from Eddie Howe to David Moyes to Roberto Martinez to Nuno Espirito Santo, Rafa Benitez, Duncan Ferguson, Lucien Favre, Christophe Galtier. Loads and loads and loads of names have braced the lips of journalists all around the world and Evertonians as potential new Everton managers, and it looks like today that the name's still leading the list, or still leading the running, I suppose, for the new Everton job, or for the Everton job, is Rafa Benitez. Now, we sat down yesterday, and we spoke about a TalkSport rumour, or an article that TalkSport had released, as to state that they believed that Everton had walked away from the potential deal to bring in Rafa Benitez because of the protests from Evertonians, and because of the the fury that the rumours linking Rafa Benitez with a move to Everton caused. TalkSport did say yesterday, it was Alex Crook of TalkSport saying that it's all gone a little bit quiet, and he believes that Everton have listened, or Everton officials have listened to the fans, and that they will not be pursuing Rafa Benitez as the new manager anymore. And we sat here on the stream yesterday and we said, look, let's take that article and take those words with a massive pinch of salt, because we've heard a lot over the last couple of weeks or so, lots of different bits of information regarding Rafa Benitez and various other managers, and 1 minute it's this manager's nailed on and on the verge of signing his Everton contract, and the next minute that manager's not even in the running. We did speak about Alan Myers, who come out yesterday pretty quickly after the TalkSport article, really, and said that he doesn't believe that is the case. He didn't believe that Everton had walked away from the deal to bring in Rafa Benitez, or from the from the talk with Rafa Benitez. He said that nobody's been offered the job yet. You couldn't count anybody in and you can't count anybody out either. But he didn't believe that the case was Everton had walked away from the the interviews and the talks with Rafa Benitez because of the protests from fans, as TalkSport were citing. And like I said yesterday, we should take everything that we'd read with a massive pinch of salt, because it might be the case, it mightn't be the case, and even if it is the case, things are changing constantly every 5 minutes at the moment regarding the Everton managerial search. We can sit here one morning and say one thing, and we might be sitting here the next morning and saying a completely different thing. And the latest is on Rafa Benitez. It is in over the last 12 hours or so. Late last night, the Mirror come out and said that Rafa Benitez has held further talks with Everton chiefs about taking over at Goodison Park, despite some fans taking issue with the possible arrival of the former Liverpool boss. They also said that secret talks were held at the weekend with Rafa Benitez's representatives, sorting out the final details of a deal, which now looks set to be confirmed in the coming days. They then went on to talk specifically about Everton and said that backlash from fans last week dampened the enthusiasm of Farhad Moshiri and his backers over the appointment. Talks did not completely stall, and the Benitez camp remain confident that Everton will confirm a contract after several positive meetings. They went on to say that Farhad Moshiri was said to be nervous about the reaction of the Everton fans. Moshiri has allies in the likes of Alisher Usmanov that have given him the confidence to continue talks with Rafa Benitez. Now, that, of course, all come out late last night. We then had Dominic King of the Daily Mail, I believe, coming out and saying that Everton have held further talks with Rafa Benitez as they get closer to making him an offer to become their new manager. He also said that Rafa Benitez has become the leading candidate after another round of discussions with Farhad Moshiri. Farhad Moshiri is aware of the feeling about Benitez from the Everton fans, but is proceeding regardless. Everton have spoken to a number of managers, including Nuno Espirito Santo, and still have other candidates in frame for the manager's job, such as Graham Potter, and Roberto Martinez also has supporters at board level. No guesses for who the supporters of Roberto Martinez are, is the let's be perfectly honest with you. Paul Joyce come out then earlier on today, a little bit late this morning. So that was all late last night, and then Paul Joyce come out this morning and said that Rafa Benitez remains in pole position to become the new Everton manager after further talks with Everton's hierarchy. Farhad Moshiri and his associates continue to see Benitez as the man needed to take the club forward, despite supporter backlash. No formal offer has been made yet to Benitez, but the former Liverpool manager has now had 4 rounds of talks with Everton. The latest round of negotiations took place after the backlash from Everton fans, which underlined how keen Everton were. So there you go. Practically the latest on Rafa Benitez is that yesterday we read a TalkSport article who were convinced that Everton had walked away from the Rafa Benitez deal because of the backlash from Evertonians. We then heard late last night from the Mirror that that isn't the case, and Everton is still pursuing Rafa Benitez as leading candidate, and Farhad Moshiri, as well as other members of the Everton board, are aware of the backlash from supporters, however still wish to continue those negotiations. And then of course today, Paul Joyce coming out and saying that another round of talks have been had with Rafa Benitez, even after the club were aware of the of the frustration from supporters and of obviously the protests or the the strong words against appointing Rafa Benitez as the new manager. So that's where we seem to be, as the title reads, another twist in the Rafa Benitez saga. And when I read all of this information last night, I've sort of gone past that point of being surprised anymore. I've sort of gone past that point of being shocked or really taking much notice. Every time I'm reading a bit of information now, I'm sort of looking at it and going, yeah, okay, that is what it is. When I read yesterday that, Rafa Benitez, that Everton were walking away from the Rafa Benitez situation because obviously of the outcry from fans. When TalkSport wrote that yesterday, I sort of looked at it and went, yeah, I don't really believe that, if I'm being honest with you, but we'll wait and see. And then when I read last night that wasn't the case and Everton was still pursuing the Rafa Benitez situation and still pursuing the potential of Rafa Benitez becoming the new Everton manager, I sort of just went, yeah, that doesn't surprise me either. Nothing really surprises me at the moment, and it's all getting a little bit frustrating, and it's all getting a little bit tedious now, isn't it? Let's be honest, because we're constantly hearing different bits of information and different stories from different journalists and different publications left, right and centre about 1 minute it's this name, the next minute it's the other name, the next minute said person isn't even in contention, but an hour later he is in contention and he's close to getting the job. And it's all just a lot of media talk and a lot of journalism talk without any real substance from the club anyway. I'm not saying that those rumours don't have any substance in them, because like Paul Joyce, Dominic King, all very reliable sources, and typically when they come out and give information, it's typically information that they believe to be the truth, so therefore has got substance to it. But obviously we haven't heard anything directly from the club. We haven't had any update from the club. We haven't had any update regarding the managerial situation, let alone whoever's on the list. And I'm not saying I want the club to come out and tell us who's on the list and who's, going to come in and who's the leading candidate, etc., etc. I don't want that. Would I like the club to communicate and come out and inform us about the situation and the plan and the project and where we are? Yeah, I would. But look, that hasn't happened yet, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen either. But it is another twist in the Rafa Benitez saga. It's another twist in Everton's managerial merry-go-round, and it's another twist that I think just leaves us as fans even more frustrated and even more sort of annoyed now, and just getting beyond the point of boredom with the whole situation. And that's where I am. Like I said, every time I'm reading new rumours, every time I'm reading new bits of information, I'm sort of looking at it going, yeah, not really interested with now, to be honest with you. Whoever it is. 1 minute, we might hear tonight that Everton are walking away from Benitez, and we might hear tomorrow morning that Everton aren't. What I would say is it seems to be the same sort of journalists that are running with the Rafa Benitez stories, doesn't it? It's your Paul Joyce, it's your Dominic King, two journalists who are heavily associated with the other lot over the road. And I said that the other day, there'll be a lot of journalists, there'll be a lot of people within the British media who are absolutely crossing their fingers and toes, hoping that Rafa Benitez gets the Everton job because of how many stories they could write and how much money they could make off of the back of Rafa Benitez becoming the next Everton manager, whether it be through exclusive interviews, like I said, whether it be through back page headlines, whatever it may be. There'll be a lot of people who will make a lot of money off of Rafa Benitez if he does become the next Everton manager, so there'll be a lot of people who are keen on that happening and that being the case. And again, I'm not saying, like I said, that the information we're reading has got no substance to it, it's complete nonsense, but what I would say is it's in the interests of a lot of these journalists and a lot of these publications that Rafa Benitez does get the job. So it doesn't surprise me when you're seeing a lot of people jumping on the case. Oh no, he's still very much in the conversation. He's still very much the leading candidate. He's the leading target. I just want to apologise about if the stream seems a bit choppy and a bit, the frame rate seems a bit up and down at the moment. I'm not too sure why that is. My computer's having a little bit of a nightmare at the moment and I can't really fix it. So the sound should be okay and everything else should be okay. But I do apologise. If you could bear with us, hopefully that'll sort itself out and fix itself over the next, 5-10 minutes, something like that, while we're on the stream. So I do apologise about that. If you're enjoying it, by the way, please do subscribe. It only takes a second. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button as well. It means a massive, massive amount to me. And it really does appreciate, and it really is appreciated, and it goes a long way for the channel as well. So if you could hit that thumbs up button, that would be absolutely fantastic. But yeah, like I said, I suppose the latest update on the Rafa Benitez stuff is as follows, really, and that was from Paul Joyce earlier on this morning, around about 9:30 this morning, which read that there's no formal offer has been made yet, but to Benitez, but Rafa Benitez has now had 4 rounds of talks with Everton. The latest round of negotiations obviously took place after the backlash from Everton fans, which underlines how keen Everton are. Dominic King late last night saying that Everton have spoken to a number of managers, including Nuno Espirito Santo, and still have other candidates in the frame for the manager's job, including Graham Potter. Also, Roberto Martinez was mentioned. Dominic King saying he's become the lead candidate after another round of discussions with Farhad Moshiri. Farhad Moshiri is aware of the feeling of the Everton fans, but is proceeding regardless. Obviously, where it leaves us at the moment, Hernandez says the live stream is a bit choppy. Not sure if anyone else sees it. Can hear you just fine, but the stream is robotic. Yeah, it's to do with the frame rate on my computer. I can only apologise about it. The sound should be okay, and hopefully the frame rate sorts itself out within the next 5, 10, 15 minutes or so, something like that. But I can't really do an awful lot about it at the moment, so I do apologise. I'll try and keep as still as possible because that probably isn't helping. But yeah. From what we've read there and from what we've been given, effectively what we're being told is that Rafa Benitez is still very much the leading candidate, and Everton are still very much pursuing the talks with Rafa Benitez, even despite the disappointment from fans, shall we say. I don't want to use the word protest, which is what TalkSport used yesterday, but it's being clear that there's a discontent with the thought that Rafa Benitez could become the next Everton manager, and it seems like Farhad Moshiri isn't really interested about that discontent, and still is ultimately going to proceed with the talks. But it's also very clear that no decision's being made. Marlon says hi, just sub. Cheers, Marlon, really appreciate that. It also seems pretty clear that no decision has been made yet. Rafa Benitez hasn't received an Everton contract. That's something that Alan Myers come out and said yesterday as well. He said nobody's rejected the job because nobody has been offered the job. So at the moment we can sit here and we can discuss and we can contemplate who's leading the race, who's the leading candidate, who the media are talking about as potential new Everton manager. But at the current moment, in regards to the process and what's actually going on at Everton, nobody has been offered the job, and ultimately nobody has turned it down because nobody has been offered the job. So that's, I suppose, where we are at the moment. where, you know, we're at this point where, okay, Rafa Benitez might still be the leading candidate. He might still be the name that is sort of leading the race, but he's not been offered the job yet. He might have had positive, successful talks with Everton. There might have been another round of talks after the obviously the disappointment shown by fans, which is a little bit annoying, I must admit. It's a little bit frustrating. Raheem says, Cam coming at you live via teletext. Philip says, that's what happens when you go live on a Nokia 33110. I've actually got a decent, powerful computer. It's just dreadful. It's absolutely dreadful. Dennis says, have you heard any rumours from your sources, Cam? I don't have any sources, mate. I don't have any sources whatsoever. But yeah, like I said, at this current moment, we are in the situation where ultimately nobody's been offered the job. Nobody's rejected it because nobody's been offered it. There's leading candidates who the media believe to be Rafa Benitez at the moment. But ultimately, again, we are, I suppose, where we are with it, and we are where we were yesterday, and we are where we were the day before, and we are where we were the day before that as well, and that is that, you know, we don't know who's going to become the new Everton manager. 1 minute it's, you know, the leading candidate's Rafa Benitez, the next minute the leading candidate's Nuno Espirito Santo, so we don't really know. I'd like to hope it's not Rafa Benitez because of the disappointment that it would cause between fans and you know, obviously again, it's just, I just don't think he's the right man for the job. I just don't think he's the manager we need to bring in and sort of galvanise the football club. But again, he hasn't been offered the job yet. Does it look like he could be offered the job? Well, if you were believing the rumours that we're reading, then yes, it does look like he could be offered the job because the rumours are currently stating that he's the leading candidate. Everton have had another round of talks with him after the fallout from fans, so it's not like we can now sit here and say that, you know, the board and Everton's board have looked at the fallout from fans and gone, no, we're not even going to pursue this because it, you know, again, according to the rumours, Everton have had another round of talks with him even after the clear fallout from fans, so that hasn't been, well, I'm not saying it hasn't been taken into consideration, but it certainly hasn't been an you know, it hasn't had much of an effect on the talks, clearly, because the talks are still ongoing. So ultimately, look, we don't know where we are. Like I said it yesterday when we talked about the TalkSport rumours, I wouldn't take them with wouldn't take them as complete and utter truth. I would take them with a massive pinch of salt because, again, you know, it wouldn't have surprised me. I said it yesterday. It wouldn't have surprised me if Everton had understood that fans aren't very happy, understood that fans have got a little bit of an issue with the Rafa Benitez appointment. But Everton had still gone, do you know what, if we think he's still the right man for the job, then we're going to go out and bring him in. And maybe that's the case, maybe that's where we are. Like I said, all we know at the moment is that nobody's been offered the job. Rafa Benitez has undergone multiple rounds of talks with Everton Football Club and believes that he is, you know, he could be offered the job, and various journalists in the newspaper believe that could be the case as well. However, Everton at the moment are still probably yet to talk to, I don't know, maybe other candidates, and certainly are yet to make the decision, because if Everton would have made the decision, then Rafa Benitez would have been formally offered the job by now, if he was the man that they decided was the right man to come in and you know, take Everton to the next level. If it was Nuno, then Nuno would have been offered the job. If it was somebody else, then they would have been offered the job. So I suppose where we are at the moment is simply in this same sort of situation as we were yesterday, I suppose, as to that now there's another twist in the Rafa Benitez saga, in that, you know, again, as I've said, he seems to be the leading candidate, but ultimately that could change within the next 24 hours or so, or it mightn't change. Yesterday we heard from TalkSport that wasn't the case. Now we're hearing from Paul Joyce, Dominic King, The Mirror, that is the case. So we'll just have to I suppose we'll just wait and see. Like I said, it is becoming really frustrating now, certainly for myself anyway. I can't speak on behalf of any other Evertonian, I can only speak on behalf of myself, but it is becoming really frustrating. because again, it's various different rumours and various different days and various different names, and it's just becoming annoying, isn't it? It's really becoming annoying. If you're enjoying, by the way, please hit that like button. It only takes a second if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Hit 4,500 subscribers over the last couple of days, so I really do appreciate that. It means a massive amount to me. Curit says, good afternoon, mate. Liam says, hi, how are you, Cam? I'm not too bad, Liam. I hope you're doing well. John says, nice to see you, Cam. I hope you're doing well. I'm good, mate. I'm good. I hope you're doing well yourself, John. Other John Jones says, I think the board have said that we will get Rafa so they can get Martinez in, i.e. relief that anyone is better than Rafa. There's been a couple of suggestions of a similar situation floating about that, you know, Everton have put out Rafa Benitez's name in order to make sure, you know, in order to make whoever comes in seem a lot more appealing to Evertonians. There was a lot of talk about it being the case if Nuno was to come in. I don't think it is the case, to be honest with you. I think Everton are genuinely interested in bringing Rafa Benitez in. I think Farhad Moshiri does genuinely like Rafa Benitez and think he's the right man for the job, which worries me, and it also worries me that, you know, we're hearing, you know, articles like, you know, Farhad Moshiri understands the feeling about Benitez from Everton fans, but is proceeding regardless. It sort of is a little bit like a kick in the face. It's sort of like, well, yeah, I get that the Evertonians don't want him. I get that there's a discontent there. I get that he's not widely backed at the moment by Everton fans, but I don't really care. I'm going to go for him regardless. And listen, if Farhad Moshiri believes he's the right man for the job, then obviously that's going to be the case. Obviously Farhad Moshiri is going to continue to pursue him if he thinks he's the right man to come in and do the best job for Everton. I just don't understand the why and how Farhad Moshiri believes he's the right man for the job, because I don't see it. I just don't see Rafa Benitez being the right man for the Everton job, to be honest with you. Danboy says, just won the Europa in 2023 on Footy Manager with Everton. Gonna send my CV in. Is right, Dan. And Ander says, this is starting to get a bit embarrassing at this point. Hope this is not how we conduct business within the club. Hopefully it's just the media trying to stir up drama. Well, again, yeah, like I said, we haven't heard anything from the club, have we? We haven't heard anything at all from the club. Let me try and change this and see if this changes it. I think that changes it. Does that change it? There you go. I think we're all sound now. Maybe it was just the background. I really don't know why the background is the thing that's cocking it up, but there we go. We seem to be okay now, I think. Maybe we're not. I don't know. Let us know anyway. Hopefully it calms itself down. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know how the club are conducting business, and like I said, ultimately, this is the media, because we haven't heard anything directly from within the club, but obviously the media are being given information from the club. So listen, again, we'll just have to wait and see what happens, I suppose. We'll have to wait and see who the new manager is, and then we can go from there. Liam says, if they're jumping around managers, that's a problem. If they have a number one man, go and get him. They've got to put their foot down unless it's Rafa. Kenny says, the whole point of Rafa is Moshiri's protecting his investment and making sure we're in the Premier League when we move into the new stadium. No risk in his eyes. Seen that mentioned as well. Who knows whether that's the case or not? I'd like to hope it's not the case, but Maybe. John says, why are there so many good managers on Spurs list that are not ours? That are not on ours. We are on par with them now. Again, it all depends who you believe is a good manager. I wouldn't want Gattuso, who was seemingly on Spurs list. I'm not a massive fan of Paulo Fonseca, who's seemingly on Spurs list. Yes, obviously Antonio Conte is the objection. Not the objection. You know, he's the difference in that. He is a top manager, but he would never come anywhere near Everton. Everton aren't suitable for what Antonio Conte wants and needs at the moment. RCO2 says, Rafa and Carlo did that different? Isn't it just them carrying the plan with Carlo on? Maybe that's why Everton are so interested in bringing him in. Whammy says, yes, I'm here. How's it going, everyone? What's happening, mate? Mozza says, hello, Cam Media on fentanyl. Everton being quiet on purpose. Come on, you Blues. AB, let's hope so. Blue Jay says, if Rafa gets the job, it'll be more toxic than Martinez. And Philip says, hey, Whammy. Yeah, well, look, again, let's just wait and see. who it is, because we don't know at the moment. Again, today it's Rafa Benitez is the leading candidate, and Rafa Benitez is still in the frame, and he'd had another round of positive talks. Like I said, it frustrates me, the whole Farhad Moshiri situation with Farhad Moshiri basically coming out and saying, well, the rumours coming out and saying that Farhad Moshiri is aware of the backlash from Evertonians, but is basically he's going to proceed with the Rafa stuff anyway, is a little bit frustrating, and it's a little bit like a kick in the face. Now, I know there's been other rumours that we just mentioned saying that Farhad Moshiri was a little bit nervous and a little bit concerned about the reaction from Evertonians, and he'd actually received some backing from his other backers, i.e. Alisher Usmanov, which, again, maybe takes a little bit of that responsibility away from Farhad Moshiri, but it's still the way a lot of these reports are written, and I get that the media reports and they could be taken massively out of context, and this mightn't be the case whatsoever, but the way a lot of them are written is to state that Farhad Moshiri understands the backlash from Evertonians and still isn't really that arsed, is what it seems, or is just going to continue either way. Just for me, again, it doesn't leave a nice taste in your mouth, does it? It makes you sort of think, well, hang on, you've listened, or you know what the fans are, how the fans are feeling, and the fans' reaction to this, and yet you're still willing to go ahead with it. Now, okay, if Farhad Moshiri's adamant that that Rafa Benitez is the right man for the job, then obviously he's gonna continue to go with it, and he's still gonna pursue the deal. But if that's the case, then if he's adamant he's the right man for the job, then surely he'd have been offered the contract by now. Surely we wouldn't be in this situation where we're looking, going, okay, maybe we might offer him a deal, we mightn't offer him a deal. If he's adamant he's the right man for the job, then why hasn't he been offered the contract already? If he's not adamant he's the right man for the job, then surely the fans' reaction comes into the conversation a little bit more than just saying, oh, aren't the fans happy? Oh, alright, doesn't matter, I'm still going to go ahead with it anyway. But look, who knows where we are with the Rafa Benitez stuff. Like I said, it's changing day by day, and ultimately, from at the moment, Ty says, I'm late to the team, any news in yet? No, at the moment, still the same, that according to Paul Joyce, Dominic King, the Mirror, a lot of other sources, Rafa Benitez is still the leading candidate, and Everton have had another round of talks with him, even after the fallout from fans, which is frustrating and annoying a little bit, but that's obviously Everton obviously deem Rafa Benitez is good enough to take over, or certainly deem that the opinion of fans is outweighed by the ability of Rafa Benitez as a manager. And if that's the case, then I really do ask the question as to why he's not being offered the contract already, why there's still a decision to be made, why they haven't made that decision. If they look at the fans' opinion and think, right, okay, if Everton looked and went, right, Rafa is the man, we understand the fans' opinion, we understand the fans, how they feel about it, but he is the man to take us forward, he's the man that's going to, bring us, success in the future, then why hasn't he been offered the contract yet? Why hasn't he signed? Why hasn't he been announced? Why is there still a decision to be made? But those feelings from fans haven't really made any difference in the process. I don't get it. But there you go. Maybe that's just the way Everton are doing it. Maybe it won't be Rafa Benitez, and we'll all be sitting here saying, oh, what a load of a waste of time that was, talking about him for 4 or 5 days on the bounce. But maybe it will be, who knows. Then it says, not sure why we need a new stadium. We desperately need a new stadium, mate, because of just, in order to progress as a football club, we need a new stadium. But the stadium isn't one of the issues at the moment, is it? Then it says, Cam, you see, new stadium could stip UNESCO World Heritage status. Yeah, the World Heritage are going absolutely nuts again. It's just nonsense, mate. They're absolute nonsense. Wayne Spoon says, it's Everton, Cam, it's what we do. We could have signed Dumfries for 15 million, but we drag our heels, and then he goes to Bayern. Everton do everything in a slug space. Well, he hasn't gone to Bayern yet. They are linked with him, but he hasn't gone to Bayern yet. John says, Arsenal will be a good move for DCL. Arsenal will be a backward step for DCL. And whilst John has brought that comment up, let's get on to the next bit of information, because there's not much else to talk about the Rafa Benitez stuff. Again, I'm not going to sit here and go into reasons as to why he should or shouldn't become the next Everton manager, because we've done all that on a number of times before. And we'll probably do all of it again when he's announced, or if he's announced. We'll talk about the positives and negatives. So the latest on Rafa Benitez is that, and we'll wait and see how that progresses in the near future. But the latest on Dominic Calvert-Lewin. According to the Telegraph, Arsenal are interested in Dominic Calvert-Lewin as they are looking to strengthen their attack. If they can sell players. Now, this obviously was just made me laugh. It really did. It really made me laugh because I just thought, actually, do you know what? Why would Rafa Benitez? What am I on about? Rafa Benitez. Why would Dominic Calvert-Lewin want to go to Arsenal? Arsenal are, let's be honest, not much of a forward step for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. In fact, they're not a forward step. It'd be a sideward step for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And if he was to leave Everton, or want to leave Everton, which I don't think he does want to leave Everton, but if he was to want to leave Everton, there'd be a lot of other clubs, a lot better clubs than Arsenal, who would be in the running and who would be absolutely desperate to sign Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And I just don't understand where those rumours are coming from. Arsenal can want who they want. They can want Calvert-Lewin. I want a Ferrari. I want a Lamborghini. I want a Tesla. But I ain't going to get one because I can't afford one and I haven't even got a driver's licence. So, Arsenal can want who they want, but doesn't mean that they're going to get him, man. And plus, I don't think Dominic Calvert-Lewin will want to leave Everton this summer either way, to be honest with you. I just can't see that. I can't see him wanting to leave. And I honestly just can't see Dominic Calvert-Lewin joining Arsenal, to be honest with you. I don't think Arsenal could pay the money for him, and I don't think he'd want to take that step. We've had some news on Christophe Galtier and his move to Nice. This is coming from Get French Football News, and they have said that after initially demanding €10 million from INEOS, whoever that is, Olivier Letang appears likely to cave in €3 million following grounding concern at Lille about being able to pass the DNCG budget checks. Lille had hoped to sell one other asset pre-July. Christophe Galtier, contrary to English reports, the manager gave his word to Nice weeks ago and has never seriously considered Everton nor Tottenham, although contact was initiated indirectly by both. Still, really nervy few weeks for Lille, Nice, Julian, Fournier and Galtier. So, yeah, apparently Christophe Galtier never seriously considered Everton, and the talks were maybe not as serious as what we first thought. So there you go. Look, again, that's the latest on Christophe Galtier. The latest on Dominic Calvert-Lewin is laughable. Let's be honest, he's not going to Arsenal. Arsenal would be a sideward step for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, not a forward step. And if he was to want to leave Everton, which I don't think he does, then he'd have a lot of better and bigger clubs that are interested in him and that would want to bring him in rather than Arsenal, who aren't a step forward whatsoever. So there you go. We did have an update on Lucien Favre as well over the last couple of days or so. This is coming from Ekrem Kunar, who is, I believe, a Turkish journalist, and he said that after meeting with Crystal Palace, Lucien Favre had held talks with Everton. There was another rumour as well before all of the Rafa Benitez stuff came out yesterday, which was from the Daily Mail, which read that Lucien Favre had held positive talks with Crystal Palace and is close to accepting a role as their manager. The former Dortmund manager has also been proposed to Everton, but he is leaning towards a move to Selhurst Park, which, yeah, there you go. Lucien Favre may have been considered by Everton and may have talked to Everton, but it looks like he will move to Crystal Palace, which is a little bit annoying because I'd rather Lucien Favre than a lot of the names on the list. I'd certainly rather Lucien Favre than Rafa Benitez, and it seems like he's now going to go to Crystal Palace, which is very frustrating, but there you go. That's the latest on that. If you're enjoying, by the way, please hit that like button. It only takes a second if you're new. Don't forget to subscribe. I really would appreciate it. John says Arsenal wouldn't spend the money, to be honest. I think Spurs are more likely if Kane goes. John says better than Everton at the moment, who also need a rebuild. Says Kane is finished. Long live DCL. Philip says loaning that kind of money is ridiculously stupid. Talking about Arsenal. Steven says Arsenal have apparently taken out a massive loan to sign him. Apparently, I doubt that. Joey says even Smith Rowe wants to bail for Villa. Embarrassing. Liam says, Cam, if you had the choice between selling DCL or selling Richie, who would you keep and who would you sell? Ooh, that's a difficult one. I wouldn't sell either of them. If I had to pick, I don't know. I think you'd probably get more money for Calvert-Lewin at the moment, so maybe you'd look at it that way, but I don't know. Ty says, if Calvert-Lewin and Rodriguez leave and we get Benitez, we're going to finish in the lower. I don't think Dom's going to leave. James is one of them. That could change at any moment. But I don't think Dominic Calvert-Lewin will leave. That's just a rumour that was in the Telegraph this morning. That was probably a load of nonsense. Lavit says, on the subject of the stadium and Wales Heritage, it's not the first thing to be built on the site, on the stadium itself. This would enhance the area. Exactly. You know, the Liverpool City Council have come out on a number of occasions and said, you know, we should be proud of our heritage and our history, but we shouldn't allow it to hold us back. And that's ultimately what, you know, World Heritage or Heritage England or whoever it is want it to do. They want it to hold us back, and that shouldn't be the case. Nicholas Brown says, what rumours on DCL and Arsenal first I've heard of this? How much are they even quoting, thinking he's worth? They haven't. It's just from the Telegraph, and they've said that Arsenal are interested in Dominic Calvert-Lewin as they look to strengthen their attacking options in the summer. No fee, no nothing, and probably nothing in it whatsoever either. Where are we then? Where are we? Two Vorsa says, Everton at 120 years old, this current period is a period of adaptation and change. Massive upheaval. Keep the faith, as many managers will come and go, but we will find our one. Let's hope so. Liam says, I think we should sign Paulo Mari from Arsenal and get rid of Mason Holgate. Mari will be cheap and hasn't been given a chance at Arsenal. John says, I don't think DCL will leave this summer though. John also says, Arsenal will be better for DCL than United. United ruin a player. I can see him doing well at Arsenal if he does choose to leave. Arsenal aren't a step up. Why would he want to go to Arsenal when they're not a step up from Everton? Zhao says, Usmanov has been investing in clubs for decades, whether it's via Moshiri, via Kia, Jarabshan, and others. It's always an investment that works for personnel reason. It's never for the fans nor football. And it not often is with these multi-billionaires, mate. It's not often for the fans of football. It's for themselves. But yeah. Philip says, honestly, they could have easily rebuilt Goodison Park. And Faz says, Moshiri made many mistakes. Don't think he's humble enough to take smarter advice. Well, maybe. Like I said, I suppose Corny says, would you swap Dom for Arbit? Not a chance. I'd swap Dom for Aubameyang. Not a chance. Aubameyang might be a better player now, but he's also coming towards the back end of his career. He had a bad season last season. Not a chance would I swap him. But yeah, look, ultimately on the manager update, we're now at a situation where Rafa Benitez is still a leading candidate, which is where we were 48 hours ago. There's been another round of talks, which is the big update since the upset from fans, which shows that Everton are, you know, maybe they're taking the opinion and the view of fans into consideration, but it's obviously not taken into consideration that much because they're continuing the talks with Rafa Benitez. And yeah, he is still a leading candidate. He hasn't been offered the job yet. Nobody's been offered the job. Whether he will be offered the job in the coming days is another discussion, and that's a discussion that we'll certainly have in the next couple of days on the stream as well. So if you are enjoying and you are new to the channel, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share the stream as well if you can, and if you are new to the channel as well. And then the latest on Everton's pre-season is that Everton will face Millonarios FC in the semi-final of the Florida Cup on Sunday the 25th of July 2021 with an 8:30 p.m. kickoff East EDT. So obviously that is the first game in the Florida Cup, which will take place on that date. So look out for that one. Anyway, look, we're going to finish it there then. Nice short and sweet stream for today. But yeah, not much of an update other than the stuff on Rafa Benitez, of course, which again is nothing that we weren't aware of anyway. Let's be honest. If we didn't have the TalkSport article yesterday, then there wouldn't have been an update whatsoever today, because it's the same situation as we were in on Monday and the same situation as we were in last Friday as well. So there you go. Massive thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. Once again, I do apologise for the lagging issues and the frame rate issues. I can't really do much about it. It is the PC. Hopefully it sorts itself out the next time we are live. But if you have enjoyed the discussion, please hit that like button. It does only take a second. Dennis says, thanks, Cam. Cheers, Dennis. Really appreciate that. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, share the stream as well. Big thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments. If you're watching the YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comments and we will get involved with as many of them as possible. We'll be back tomorrow with another live stream, so join us for that one. Massive thank you for watching and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.